Okay, so welcome to our meditation time. I am honored that you've chosen to spend these few minutes with me. And honestly, the accountability of me showing up for you is one of the things that helps to keep my practice stable and steady. We can have a really easy tendency just to say, you know what, I'm really busy right now, or I really am tired. But just knowing that number one, we're showing up for somebody else. But most importantly, even beyond that, we're showing up for ourselves. It does give us accountability. And so along the way, as we show up, we realize it was just what we needed. So I want you to get comfortable where you are. There is a half moon taking its place in the sky tonight. And so we're going to find our breath. We're going to just find our rhythm of breathing in and out. And begin to settle into the space where you are in your home. Just try to separate from whatever noise you can already hear, whatever distractions there are, and bring that focus inward. You spent minutes today, I guarantee you, thinking of others, doing for others, adjusting to a schedule or to a calendar. But for these few minutes that we have, let's let all that go. And tonight's word is balance. Because as that half moon takes its place in the sky, we know in our logical mind, in our faith of the moon and what it looks like, and in our past experiences, we know that it is whole and full. But there's something about that half moon that takes its place where the halfway line is drawn of the light and the dark that serves as our reminder of balance. And so I want you just to think for a second before we get deeper into our time. Just ask yourself, how balanced do I feel right now? And oftentimes we equate our balance with how tired we are, how worn out. But I want you just to ask yourself, how balanced am I right now? And most of us are not going to be able to answer that with this beautiful assurance that we have balance right where it needs to be. So let's use these moments to get a little closer to it. And so as you are seated, what I'm going to do tonight is going to be a little different. Rather than talking you through these visuals and these thoughts and then pausing for the quiet, what I want to do is we're going to spend our first time, our first minute, focused on one affirmation, and then we'll grow quiet. And then I'll present you with another, and then we'll grow quiet. And so we're going to try to balance our time of engagement with our time of quiet all throughout these minutes that we have. And begin to try to feel the effect of how that is on each and every one of us. Find that rhythm. Your hands can rest on your legs, they can rest in your lap, just wherever feels good for you. Let the body grow still. Let the mind grow quiet. And just follow with me as I share these words. If there's something to do with your body, try to do it. And then we're going to sit with the balance that we're trying to discover. I breathe in. I breathe out. And I find balance. My right hand comes to my heart. My left hand comes and my palms press together. Right fingers against left fingers, right palm against left palm. I am as my hands come back to that comfortable position, I know when it's time to work and to engage. I know when it's time to pull back and restore. I am balanced. I know when it's time to speak, and I know when it's time to listen. I am balanced. I am filled with the energy from the sun, and I am bathed in the compassion of the moon. I am balanced. And as we continue to sit together, just keep your eyes closed gently if you can. Notice your breath. The inhale comes, the exhale follows. Your breath is the most beautiful anchor you have for finding your balance. The moon reminds us of the balance, but the breath assures us that it is there. And then as your hands are resting where they are, just let them open for a second. And then allow them to close, not too tight, but just close them into gentle little fist. And then open. And then close. The closing is the engagement and the work. The opening is the pulling back and restoring. And it may not be that in our day those hours are exactly equal from a numbers perspective, but to have balance in our lives, there must be both. And the restoration piece is not when we collapse into bed and fall asleep. But just think about it. As you close those hands, if you were to grip too much, your hand, your wrist, your knuckles, even your forearms would tell you when it's time to let go, that the tension's too much. And you would open your hands and you would find rest. The same needs to happen in our day. We know when to engage and work. We know when to pull back and restore. And then the speaking and the listening. Using our tools of discernment, our tools of wisdom and insight to know when we need to speak and when we need to listen. Not when we need to speak and when we need to grow silent, but when we need to speak actively, intentionally, and when we need to listen just as actively, just as intentionally. That is another key to discovering our balance. And then that final example of the sun and the moon. We think that we crave the energy and the light of the sun. Partially that is true. But we crave just as much to be bathed in the compassion and the softness of the moon. another example of our balance. So let's go back to the anchor. Sit for a moment longer. And however you answer that first question of how balanced are you right now, or where is it a little bit off, see if you can find the perspective to let it change from this moment on. The anchor is the breath. It begins here. I breathe in. I breathe out. I'm balanced. I breathe in. I breathe out. Balance. One more time. I breathe in. I breathe out. Balance. Bring those hands back together once more, uniting the left and the right. Feel the balance right there at the center of your heart. And no matter how you answered the question to begin with, let the answer from here on out be, I choose balance. I may not always get it right. It may get a little out of whack sometimes, but I choose balance. Namaste.